Hi, Cancer. Welcome to your end of February 2021 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. I was just laughing at my flowers. I think somebody said they were asters. I don't know, something, mums, I don't know. But I was laughing because some of the leaves are drooping. That was for Valentine's Day. My partner came home and he said, and I was like, I saw that it was wrapped, this bouquet, and he said, Happy Valentine's Day. And I was like staring at him because I knew that that's not something he does. And then it was his employer who said, Oh, you haven't gotten her anything? You got to go get her something. And the reason I'm telling you this is because just because somebody doesn't have that tendency to give you things doesn't mean that it says anything about how much they feel about you, because we've been together almost 40 years. And I said to him, that night, because he knew that I would know he didn't do it. It was just funny. I thought it was kind of strange and funny. And I said, well, why don't you give me something? He goes, that's just not me. And I said, that's right. Because he's not like that in general. He's not a materialistic person, even with himself. So, he just, he just thinks that that's like so inferior to loving someone. So but I wanted to have these flowers out here. You can't really see them, but boy, I see that they're drooping. I don't know how to take care of flowers. What would I know about that? It needs more water, I guess. But you can see I'm using a mason jar. So anyway, just a little reminder in case you measure love by possessions, which I'm sure a lot of Cancer people do not, but you know how it is. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say, I'm recording this on February 21st, and so it's a week after, a day after the Mercury retrograde ended, went direct. Actually, for me, it was last night where I live. So it's going to be until the new moon in Pisces that there is some it's still in shadow. So that can, still wreak havoc on you. I don't know how many people had crazy things happen, but I sure did. I know I had a lot of, like sending out a private reading or thinking that I did, and it was only a draft. And, the poor person didn't contact me for days because they were waiting for me, or just, oh God, I couldn't even tell you, trying to get my phone turned on and all kinds of stuff. The other thing too is that we're going to have a new moon. No, a full moon. It's hard for me to do two things at once sometimes. We're going to have a full moon in Virgo on February 27th or 28th, depending on where you live. And it's going to be at 8 degrees of Virgo. So that's a friendly angle to Cancer. That's a sextile. And I'm just going to say it's falling in your third house. There might be some of you it falls in your second house, but I'm not even going to go there. But for the third house, we're talking about communication, siblings, maybe seeing a sibling in a clearer light. If you've had some, because you have a lot of eighth house activity, which can include inheritances. And if you're dealing with family issues involving money, Cancer, you might cut it off with a sibling. But, in those types of scenarios, it would have been a long time coming. It's not something that is just like out of the blue, I wouldn't think. It's like finally, because you're seeing how this chance for money, is bringing out somebody's true colors. This can be like part of the process of moving house if you are, because the third house can be your neighborhood, and maybe you're like, I'm done with these neighbors, I'm done with this area. And it's, you're not the typical Cancer, you're not sentimental about it where you're hanging on even though it doesn't feel right. you're done. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, done with a writing project, done with training, some kind of, finishing a book or something. So anyway, let's look at the cards. The heart of the matter is the Four of Wands, Four of Swords. And this is a card that is of retreat. This is a card of taking a breather. But it's not the typical vacation where you're just like chilling or anything like that. This is like more mental and physical rejuvenation. I would even say getting your head together. The number 4 is connected to stabilization, organization. So if swords are thoughts, then to me, it's getting your thoughts in order. And there may be a reason for this. Also, and it can be physical rejuvenation. If you have been through a really stressful time, this can be certainly something that is allowing you to calm your nervous system down. I didn't even think about it like that, but yeah, I would say that. And you might have been hearing about different people talking about your nervous system. And when I first heard that theory, that, that idea of like our nervous system's getting out of whack, I immediately resonated with it, because I always wondered why, when I feel like I have a low tolerance for stress sometimes, and it's like I can't even do anything because, and I didn't know why, and it's because the nervous system is like overcharged. So if you've been through some kind of a traumatic experience, I'm looking at this. This is the past position, the 5 of Cups, mourning the loss of someone. It could be a relationship, or, like a marriage or relationship that's ended, but, a death that you've had. Now, this would have been in the past, so not something that's going to happen. But that kind of thing can throw your nervous system out of whack, and it can be very hard to calm yourself, to feel safe, to feel, there's another word I was looking for, to feel stable, And so that's what the 4 of Swords, like let's say you did find out that your partner had been cheating. And of course it's going to be a shock to the system. So you decide to separate physically from that person, from their space, so that you can calm yourself down. You don't have to be constantly triggered by their presence. That could be what this is. Anything like that. But as I stated, when I was talking about inheritance, there might be something where that has come up, where money that is shared has come up for you. And there's might be some unpleasant truths. Sometimes the 5 of Cups can be mourning in the loss of this dream or illusion that it really was, of a relationship that you had. And I mentioned siblings. Even with siblings, sometimes you think that you have a certain relationship, and somebody does something to you, and you're like, whoa, I never saw that coming. I didn't realize that I had that type of thing going on. I thought we had a more respectful relationship. And really, the truth is that even if that's the case, that the relationship is being shown in an unpleasant light, you can still choose to view it through the lens of those positive interactions with that person, or experiences with that person, even as the relationship shifts in terms of like what it represents to you. You don't have to just completely be like, oh, this is horrible. I'm not going to have anything to do. I'm not even going to like think about this person. I'm going to hate this person. No, you can still have an open heart, and maybe you're not spending as much time with that person, but it still is. It doesn't have to be like just completely horrible. The higher message? 5 of Swords. Now you see all those other people in the background. Sometimes this card is called the Empty Victory in one of my books because the person got all the swords from the other people, but they didn't, they degraded themselves in the process. Do I think that that is Cancer? No, unless you're a lower level Cancer and some situation in your life has caused you to act in a way that is not becoming of you. And the reason that I bring up the thing about inheritance and money and stuff like that, I mean, this could be a work situation very, very easily, is because the reason I bring it up with the money is because with loved ones and money, there's always that double, I was going to say that double-edged sword, but I don't know if that's the right word, but with the fact that people a lot of times they need money, so that causes them to do things that they normally wouldn't do. And or they may just have, I mean, even from past lives, they may just have a real fear-based scarcity consciousness, and they do things that are deceptive, that seem out of character sometimes. And yet, even if they succeed, if they have that basic decency, they may know that there's an emptiness there, that they feel like it was ill-gotten gains or what have you. This could be another person who has done this. And if you're afraid that they got away with it, just understand that there's cause and effect in the universe. It's not always visible. It does seem like people get away with things, and that's not for us to understand. I don't think. I'd like to understand sometimes, but I don't really care about vengeance. Or, I want people to know what they're doing. I want them to gain enlightenment. I don't want to punish people. I want them to see the light. So if you look at it that way, it makes it a lot more palatable. Five of Swords can be any sort of deception. So if you're dealing with someone who you're disappointed in, maybe that's what the Five of Cups is. You're disappointed in the situation. It might have been that you were a bit naive about it, that you couldn't see that this person was not really acting in good faith all along. But in any case, now you know. Now it's not in the shadows anymore. And yeah, when I was talking about this scenario, if it's a work situation, the Four of Swords can be like that period that's kind of like a rest period, and it might be imposed by your company for some reason, but there's some disappointment that you have experienced. Maybe you were hoping to get a promotion, or you were hoping to get restored fully if you were on furlough or something like that. And instead you got a reprieve, or well, I'd call it a reprieve, but you might have gotten something where you have some time off. And you can use that very wisely. I don't know if I would say it's losing a job if you have lost a job, although I'm sure there are always going to be people of every sign that have lost their job. Something that caused disappointment. The reason I don't think it's losing the job is the Four of Swords. It gives you time. It's almost like I was going to say a mental health day, but some kind of a leave, like a health leave or something like that. When somebody burns out, or they just feel like they're not up to par, and you realize that somebody is behind it, that thwarted you in some way, and maybe even more people. When I see this card, I think of the the co-workers in the background. But everybody might be quite deceptive in their own way, the boss and the other people. So, yeah, and so in a similar vein, the card that crosses you is the Three of Pentacles. This may be people that are not working well together. They're not playing well together. And so what I would say, like, I could see like the typical Cancer person, if they work in an office setting, work with other people, that you nurture those other people, that you bring them treats and like you bake them cookies or something like that. And then if they do something that you feel hurts you professionally, you may feel hurt that they betrayed you in that way. And I think what the Five of Swords is saying is that there's always those types of people who are snakes, and maybe they're two-faced. They show one face, and they, to you, and then another to other people. One thing I want to say too about the Five of Swords is it's also a card of gossip, and it's like, what's that term? It's like, but it's like dragging people, smearing their names, dragging them through the mud and all that. And, it's not to say that you were necessarily a part of that and then it came back to you. It could have been. I have, it's so funny because I don't know if I said this before, but I had a coworker who was from another country, and her first language was not English, and she was talking about, because we were in the workplace, and people gossip, right? They talk about the boss, complain about the boss. And she was complaining about another coworker to me and saying, she said that it's about gossiping. It's not gossiping. Or maybe the boss said, don't gossip. And she goes, if it's true, it's not gossip. And she was confusing the term with slander. Slander is when something's not true, but, gossip can be 100% true. But it's like, why? Why is a person talking about this other person? There are, people who say, I never talk about other people. Well, I think that's a little bit extreme, because I just don't go that far. But if somebody is being malicious in their conversation about somebody else, it is always interesting to know, like, what is their motive? Is it to make you think that that person is a bad person? So that may be something that you're dealing with. And it might be like, I think with the Five of Swords, it's like you may have already participated in that gossip. Maybe you didn't, say anything yourself, but you knew what you were dealing with. So there was nothing to be disappointed about, because these are the kinds of people that go against others, because they're two-faced. They can't just speak to the person about their concerns directly. It's kind of cowardly, when you think about it. What's coming in is the Empress card. Really great card. This is the Earth Mother. It's a card that's financially lucrative because it's connected to the planet Venus. And the two signs that are connected to Venus are Taurus and Libra, so it's connected to those two signs. As a mother archetype, and you are the mother archetype, Cancer, this can be about enjoying that role to the fullest, and maybe you have some kind of financial wherewithal where you're able to pay your bills and still be a parent, still be creative if you're furloughed or at home. The Empress is a card of creativity, number 3 in the Major Arcana. So making lemons out of lemonade, but it really isn't. It's actually making diamonds out of lemons, because, I was going to say it's making diamonds out of rubies, because this is for your highest good, whatever the situation is to you. And the outcome is the Emperor. So we got the Empress and the Emperor. Okay, now this is the father archetype. The Empress is the mother archetype. Now, in terms of how this may relate to you, this is another number 4, see? So I started with number 4, and I ended with number 4. And 4 is a number that's connected to Saturn. So it's a number of order. And discipline, and in your life having that ability to, do things for yourself, being being in control of your life. And maybe that is the thing that comes out of this, because when you work for somebody else and you feel that sense of dependency, like, oh my gosh, I hope I don't lose my job, you're always in that vibration of dependency. Now, you can work for somebody else and feel total sovereignty and just like, okay, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And you're not fear-based about it. Same with money, all of these things. I would say with the Three of Pentacles in the challenge position, there may be some inability for people to come together when it comes to this money. And that's, because of almost like primitive ideas about, your source of your good. That's why I was saying a lot of people, like, when money is involved, you see these like horrible sides of them, because they're still playing out these old tapes, and it might not even be from this lifetime. These survivalist, or whatever you want to call them, survival mechanisms, reptilian brain stuff. Instead of being like, the universe has my back, I am being divinely protected, I'm going to be, be supported by the universe no matter what. Having that, doesn't that feel better than having that sense of like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to me? So anyway, I hope that resonated on some level. These things can, be applied to your life in different ways, obviously. If you would like a private reading, I'm primarily an astrologer. I also do tarot readings. I have combination readings, like the whole enchilada, full-length natal chart interpretation with transits, and full-length tarot reading for a special price, deep dive, extended transits, extended analysis of the chart for a special price, and other types of readings. You can check out the link below for more details. Have a great rest of February. It's almost in the can. Bye.